Hi, it's Wednesday, the 26th of March, and we're here to look at the current astrology, most especially the partial solar eclipse, sorry, on Saturday. So I'm going to go directly to the chart, and we shall see what we can see. Very much involving the dwarf planets, this one. Let's have a look. Okay, this is the eclipse chart. Right. There's so much interesting stuff here. The first thing I want to talk about basically is how Aries is getting hammered here. The energy of Aries is absolutely under the microscope and everything is piling down. I'll cover that in more detail in a moment. The other thing that sticks out a mile is Neptune is at 2957, just about to pile into Aries and put more energy and, probably distress really into this energetic fire sign. And Venus will catch up and will join also. So, right, let's look at this actual eclipse. So, what's happening is the moon is between us in the middle and the sun. So it looks, as far as we're concerned, as if the sun is having a bite out of it. The moon is going to cover the face of the sun from our perspective as the observers. Right, there is a dwarf planet sitting very close to this who can't be ignored. This is Silesia. Now, Silesia is behind the sun, and it's a dwarf planet, and so it's basically way, way out in space. I mean, really at the far reaches of the solar system, in a barren, almost sunless place, really, the Kuiper Belt. And these planets were discovered in the early part of this century, and they are very much there to give us the imagery and the symbolism to describe our journey as humans going into the 21st century and onwards, and also really our journey outwards from the solar system as we travel out from it. Okay, now Silesia. Okay, named after a Roman goddess, and if you Google this name, you'll get two kinds of wisdoms on it, and I actually don't agree with either of them. So the ones that say this is very sort of Barbie doll, very sort of pretty and feminine. Oh, she was Neptune's wife, and she is the female goddess of the sea. Yes, okay, we could sort of take just that image of her. And there is another one there, which is talks about all kind of wounded sexuality. Or now it is true that Silesia is a tragic figure, and it is also true that she has, in cultural publications, become an image, really, or a symbol of the deeply marginalized. And what I therefore want to do is look at who I think the real Silesia is. She represents the very deep, mysterious, and dangerous sea. So I think it was Pluto who talked about the sea, and said that cities should never be founded on the coast, so that they're not coastal cities. He said this that because he believed that they would become uncouth and troubled by all of the merchants who would find it easy to moor up their boats and go into the city. So you attracted trouble as far as Plato was concerned if you were next to the sea. And we don't have to look very far to see that the sea has caused trouble. It can be enormously powerful. It can overcome human beings. It seems to have no remorse, and it is tremendously sort of symbolic, really, of the primordial feminine, the very, very primordial feminine. We get a similar character in Babylon with Tiamat, a devouring, vengeful monster with dripping fangs, etc. Okay, there was a film called Silesia, which was published in 2019. And it was a story of a black trans sex worker from the 1830s in New York, actually. Now, I haven't seen the film, I've just sort of read a synopsis. And so I was interested in how someone had been drawn to use the name Silesia for that film. And I'm also drawn to Silesia as a figure who, even in Rome, had her title and her position as goddess taken from her because they wanted to replace it with a male figure. And so Neptune, who started out his life really as a god of rivers, became the head honcho, if you like, and so she became his wife. Sorry, I'll just take the share off while I talk to you. So we've got a deeply troubled figure, marginalized, misunderstood. And if we could go back actually to Genesis, we could go back to the original spark or the Big Bang, where the primordial feminine exists before anything else. Just this sort of seething, troubled water. The feminine is never really happy, unless, of course, it is giving birth or nurturing. But anyway, so Silesia is there, and Silesia has that part of the sky, as far as we're concerned, highlighted because there is an eclipsed sun, and there is the moon, and then there's the earth. So we're all in a line. I'll just go back to the share. And share. There we go. Sorry, it wasn't reacting. So I think there's something here, and I think it is about taking the energy of Aries. So what is that? It's the first fire sign. It initiates, it instigates, it leads. It believes in itself. It is centered to itself. It is courageous and battles. It loves combat. It just flies into combat because it loves it. Okay, so this particular energy at the moment is under fire. It is being wounded, if you like. It is under duress. We know this because Aries has always been there, but let's forget Aries. So Chiron is representing the wounds that make us wise, wounded individuals, our deep humiliation, our deep guilt. And then we have Silesia with her very tragic energy. And then we have an eclipsed sun. Now, the problem with an eclipsed sun is the sun is in Aries. It's in a fire sign. It's very happy, thank you. Since the sun went into Aries, it has lifted the energy around the earth. However, when the moon passes in front of it, it extinguishes the sun's light and the sun's photons, the sun's energy. It stops it from hitting the earth for a brief time. And lots of things happen out in space, actually, as a result of that. Around the earth, there are various layers of atmosphere. And when the sun's light is not hitting the ionosphere, then cosmic rays can enter. Not too many because they're very dangerous and they kill us, but enough. And so there is a reaction which comes down, peters down through all the different layers of the atmosphere when the sun's light is switched off, even for a few minutes. There is an impact. Okay, so we've got an impact anyway, and then we've got an impact because the symbolism is describing how masculine energy is currently under fire. It is being eclipsed. And behind that sun representing this is the wounded feminine, is the tragic feminine energy of the earliest primordial, pre our existence, pre our dimension, before there was our dimension. And so therefore we're back to a theme that I've been mentioning on and off for the last year, and that is the massive battle as the feminine rises. So 2,000 years of patriarchy and masculine focus, and a society which is focused on masculine being more superior. And the time has come for feminine to rise, yin to rise, and it presents us with an enormous battle going on in the invisible energy around our heads. Yes, we are producing symbolism around that, and we could look at the news for that. But nevertheless, spiritually, in terms of the metaphysical, this is a massive battle. And so this eclipse is hitting the heart of the world of two, the world of dualism, because it's on the Aries Libra axis, which is the world of one and the world of two on the opposite side. World of one is Aries, world of two is Libra. I'm just going to go back to the share again. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. Okay, now at the moment, Silesia is in a what we call a T-square with Maki over here and Quawa over here. So in some ways, the eclipse is resonating with this particular T-square, which really is just describing our times. I have to just mention Quawa here because Quawa was a god or a deity of the Native American Indians who used to live in what is now Los Angeles. And he represented a race of people who were very much they were disenfranchised. They had their land removed from them. It was taken from them. And I think there is something to do with they offered them casinos or something in exchange. That resonated with me because of Trump and his constant need for land acquisition. So remember, he wanted to make the Gaza Strip into some kind of Middle Eastern casino, Trump Tower type thing. I suppose like a Las Vegas, really. So Quawa is in there and resonates with this land grab. It's in Quawa is also in Capricorn, which represents land. So we got that one. Anyway, and then we've got Maki. So Maki represents indigenous people, but also vast movements of people, vast populations, populations which have been pushed out of their land that they have been on for years, on centuries and what have you, who have been displaced, amongst other things. Maki also represents the Earth's weather and the weather systems as well. La Nina, El Nino. Okay, so what does this mean for individuals? Okay, because the Aries-Libra opposition also represents the world of one and the world of two in terms of interpersonal relationships. So you and your partner, or you're without a partner, living independently because you want to, or you wanting to see a partner, all this kind of thing. It's the structure of relating. And it can be relating when you're having a massive argument or relating when you're extremely romantic. Okay, now the actual element of love there, I should say, is not in the structure of Aries, Libra. That comes in with Taurus and Scorpio, the next axis. But anyway, going back to a significant other person whom you might consider to be a lifelong partner. Okay, because we're looking at that Aries, Libra, and it contains also the energy of battle and combat, and you need somebody else to battle with if you're going to have one. So there has to be two. On an individual level, this brings a ripple of interruption into that world. And it can mean that someone suddenly has lost power. An eclipse is very much like a light switch, right? So you've got a light on in your room and you flick the switch and you go into darkness. And then you flick it back on again and light comes on. Whatever the planet is that is being eclipsed, then that's the energy which is being eclipsed. So in this case, it's yang masculine energy. Okay, so there are all kinds of connotations for this in terms of, having a row, feeling disempowered, being aware of marginalized genders, etc. There's, just however it works in your own world, really. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm just looking, oh yeah, and then we've got Neptune and Venus moving out of Pisces and into Aries. Okay, this will considerably shake up our universe, considerably change the energy. This is a massive move. This is a tsunami in terms of the energy of the earth turning. And we will have to see how this pans out, really, because we've got various events and wars and issues and conflicts going on all around the planet, really, a lot of them focused on the USA. It will obviously reverberate in that, but quite how? It was interesting to see the events recently concerning conversations that took place on a texting group involving the people in control of the things, the various people around Trump's satellites, shall we say. Anyway, Europe didn't come off very well. Oh, thanks. I think we are pathetic. That's all right. That's fine. Anyway, never mind. See, I'm laughing. Doesn't matter. But you can see the reverberation there with that. Well, that's typical of the sort of thing. Sudden shock. But anyway, right. I think I've spoken enough now, haven't I? I'm very pleased to have finished this particular video, because I honestly was going to be like, oh, what am I going to say? Anyway, I've done it. All right, I'm going to say goodbye now. Quickly, get out while the going's good. It's been wonderful to see you, and hopefully I'll talk to you Friday. Okay, thank you. Bye. Oops.